Well, the agents are getting deposed, and it looks like Blake Lively's agent kind of turned on her, at least contradicted some of the claims that she was making. Baldoni's agent is accusing Blake Lively of extortion. And then we have some Dancing with the Stars updates. Hilaria Baldwin is slamming the Dancing with the Stars cast for bullying her off the show. And she says that there was a coordinated campaign against her. Lots to get into. I hope you're ready for it. Let's dive in. This is No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Hi guys, welcome on in. Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday, October 14th. And I have a lot of thoughts going on today. Also, I wanted to let you guys know that I think I'm going to start segmenting out the days here on No Filter and even bringing in some regular familiar voices that have been on the podcast recently that you guys have been really keen to. So yeah, I think we're going to start to have more mixes of panels. We're going to start to have more of a diverse type of content, but we're going to segment it out. Because one thing I've heard from everybody is, some people really love reality TV housewife stuff and they miss when I covered that content. And then other people really want the legal Blake Lively updates. And then other people like our, spicier, heavier conversations. And, and people miss the pop report. So I think I will start to dedicate each day to a different category of news. That way you know what to expect. And if you just want the bigger cultural conversations, I think we're going to have those on Wednesdays. If you want more of the fluffy, lighthearted panel conversations, that'll be on Fridays. Tuesdays, I'm thinking of dedicating strictly to reality and what's on TV right now. So Housewives, Bravo, Kardashians, TLC, all that stuff. You'll be getting all of that. That way you know exactly what you're getting. So if you're like, listen, I don't care about the heavy political talk, or I don't care about Housewives, or I'm so tired of Blake Lively, well, then we're not going to talk about Blake Lively every single day, even if there is news to talk about with Blake Lively every single day. See? Flip Dip Drop says, I don't like reality TV, just Blake Lively stuff. See, and then now you'll know Tuesdays are not going to be my days on No Filter because Tuesdays are solely going to be dedicated towards reality TV. So I just think that'll be helpful, especially as I'm seeing a lot of my friends and other creators kind of start to find that that challenge of talking about an array of different topics and trying to stay focused on giving the audience what they want, but also, stimulating conversations that are going to be much bigger than just the light fluff. So you get a little bit of everything, you get a little bit of it all. I'll let you know what our final schedule ends up shaking out to be. But I think you'll be happy with some of the people that'll be joining me more regularly on the podcast. Christina says, I've always said that you guys should segment your lives. Then you can edit shorter clips for people who don't like the lives, get 2 types of audience types. I absorb so much content modding. I agree. And Christina, I may have to hire you to do clips. That's one thing I need is a little assistance. Sarah says, I actually love the way you cover the heavier stuff with full perspective and balanced levity and respect. I try. And so now you'll know, okay, Wednesdays are going to be a bit of a bigger, heavier conversation. You got to pivot. We got to pivot. And listen, the Blake Lively stories run a little stale. We have some Blake updates that we will get into. But Felicia's here. Felicia says, listening while I write a report. What kind of report? Like a school report or like a police report? Tell me. Tell me. Okay. Let's kick things. Let's just dive into the Blake of it all, right? So Blake Lively, the ongoing saga continues. We have agents that have now been deposed. We have Justin Baldoni's agent, Greenberg, and then we also have Blake Lively's agent. Oops, hold on, wrong notes. Warren Zavala, and he's with WME. I believe both of their agents are with WME. So we have Danny Greenberg and Warren Zavala, both of whom have been deposed at this point. And things are looking a little spicy. And I don't think that either of their testimonies, and Blake's makeup artist was also testified, but the makeup artist is claiming that the allegations made by Blake Lively happened during phase 1 of filming, which was prior to the all hands meeting. Because that's kind of the allegation too, is it's like, well, she brought forth some of these concerns, and then there was an all hands meeting, and then the behavior was corrected, and then things move forward from there. And so it's like, well, how legit or how strong are the claims if everything has kind of been settled at this point? And there was no additional behavior in phase 2 of production. But I don't know. It's going to be really tricky because I feel like there aren't a whole ton of like clarity with the laws on this type of stuff, especially with the jurisdiction issues and how California is going to, play a factor into this with SB 27. Was it 71 point? I forgot what it was. It's been so long. But anyway, the makeup artist confirms that this was something that happened. Actually, why don't we just pull up each of these? So it's Vivian, is it Baker or Barker? But let's see what Aunt Viv had to say. So Vivian testified that everything that happened in the first phase of filming. Now, we don't get full transcripts. We just get excerpts. So this is the excerpt from Vivian, the makeup artist. She didn't have a whole lot to give. Like, there really wasn't a ton. Blake's attorneys continue to fight back with all of their objections. A lot of their objections are kind of dumb, to be honest, but they object to every single thing. So that's what we got from the makeup artist. Not a whole lot, but it gets a little more interesting when we get into the agents. So I talked about this briefly the other day on the show, and this is the excerpt from Justin Baldoni's agent, where he was asked, where was the film shot? Let's stick with the first phase of filming, if you know. And it seems there's some confirmation from Danny Greenberg that filming was done in New Jersey. And then furthermore, they start to ask more about the extortion claims. So, question. Okay. And in this one, the second dark blue box, they're referring to text messages, and they have an exhibit that they're referencing between Danny Greenberg and it looks like Baldoni and Mr. Heath. I think this was like a group text. So they said in this one, the second dark blue box, about 2/3 of the way down, it's a message from you to Mr. Baldoni, to Mr. Heath, rather. Is that correct? And then Danny says, so let's see here. And they say, I guess my question is, so what's your question? Is that one directed to Mr. Heath or Mr. Baldoni? Danny says, it looks like this was a conversation between Justin and me. Okay, and you say to Mr. Baldoni, yep, and I'm there to have your back and remind you, not that you need me to, that you are the man and you are going to crush this. Very uplifting, very standard of an agent. They're your partners. It's theirs too. Perrin, i.e., you want to mention this AM event, their acknowledgement of the continued extortion and effort to gain control of the film. At the time that you sent these, suggests for a letter to Sony. You sent it to Mr. Baldoni. Had you had discussions with anyone at Sony about Miss Lively's effective attempts at extortion? That's when Blake Lively's team interjects with an objection. Danny goes on to say, I had ongoing conversations with Angie Giannetti, the executive on the project. She's the one from Sony, about the behavior that Blake Lively was displaying along the way. And at this point in time, what was on the table was the premiere issue. You were choosing your words very carefully, weren't you? Object to form. Yeah, her attorneys object to everything. Then Danny says, I don't remember my state of mind when I wrote this letter. This was a letter to Sony. And then that's when Baldoni's attorney says, is it your practice to choose why your words carefully when conveying an important message? And he says, I do my best. And he says, you use the word extortion in this, suggesting to Mr. Baldoni what he might write to Sony, correct? And then we have another objection. And then Danny says, yes, it's in the text. And then he asks, and then the Baldoni's attorney asks, that's a pretty strong word, isn't it? Objection. it felt appropriate in the moment, Danny says. And then Baldoni's attorney says, you anticipated my next question. Thank you. Then you go on to say, but you don't in any way put Sony on the defensive or indict them. Then if you can be contrite in some capacity, very briefly acknowledging that the two of you had your moments, which she would dissect your energy, word choice, and personality frequently that led to mutual discomfort working with one another. Perrin, not everyone gets along kind of thing. Not all personalities are compatible. Now, you were suggesting to Mr. Baldoni that he write something to Sony saying, other people have agreements or downplaying the agreements. Did you believe that Mr. Baldoni was taking Miss Lively's conduct too seriously? Blake's team objects again. They're objecting to form. I'm not sure what the object to form means necessarily. I know that you can have it on the record that they objected, but you don't have a judge that says, sustained or, declined. And then Danny says, I'm not really following the question. Baldoni's attorney says, okay, I'll withdraw it. You used the word extortion, correct? Danny says, yes. Baldoni's attorney asks, sounds to me like you believed at the time of this chat on July 26, 2024, that it was more than just ordinary incompatibility between Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Lively. Is that a true statement? Blake's team objects. Danny says, I think my use of the word extortion there was referencing just cumulative behavior that both the studio and Wayfair and Justin was having to manage. So that's why I used the word. And then she goes on to ask, Baldoni's attorney goes on to ask, that would be more than just a disagreement between two different personalities, wouldn't it, Mr. Greenberg? And then Danny goes on to say, well, their personalities, again, I think the text speaks for itself, but I think they were not getting along. And so I think it's important. I was suggesting to Justin that he be, and then that's as far as the excerpt takes us. So here it's very clear that he felt that Baldoni, Wayfair, that not only did they have conflicting personalities, not only were they, was there some sort of major disagreement between them, but it also appears that they believed, and this was a concern raised to Sony, that Blake Lively was trying to extort them by gaining full access of the project. Then we come over to Blake's agent. Let's go in, because this is where things get even more spicy. Okay. So here we have, this is Warren Zavala. This is Blake Lively's agent at WME. And again, we have plenty of objections from Blake's team. But so this excerpt immediately jumps out with Blake's attorney saying, just gonna object to the extent it calls for speculation. And then Baldoni's attorney says, okay, we don't do speaking objections, but just objection is sufficient. And then Baldoni's attorney says, can you please read back the question for Mr. Zavala? And then Mr. Zavala, Blake's agent, says, I don't know. And then Justin's attorney says, do you know if that December, strike that. Do you know whether Miss Lively's written agreement provides for her to have a role in the editing of the movie? Blake's agent says, I do not. And then Baldoni's attorney asks, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. Do you know where the movie was filmed? He says, yes. Where? New Jersey. So it seems like they're asking every single one of these witnesses about where the film took place. And so we know that some of it was in Las Vegas, but majority of the film was done in New Jersey because they're all testifying to this being about New Jersey. I assume this will go to part of their arguments about jurisdiction and why East Coast laws should apply and not California. Uncertain whether they're going to focus on Jersey law or New York law, because this is a case in New York. TBD, we'll see where that goes. Baldoni's attorney asks Blake's agent, were you ever on set during filming? He says, I was. How frequently? I went twice, which is one more time than I've ever gone to any set in 24 years. Is there a reason? And then we don't get what the reason is. The excerpt jumps ahead to something that was, I guess, that was asked later on. And we have a new question from Baldoni's attorney that says, okay, are you aware of any incidents that made Miss Lively uncomfortable during the second phase of filming? Her agent says no. And then Baldoni Baldoni's attorney asks, your second visit to the set occurred during the second phase of filming, correct? Correct. And everything seemed to be going well to your observation during that second visit, correct? Yeah, yes, correct. Did you personally hear any complaints from Miss Lively during the second phase of filming? Yes, in the post-production process around the testing of the cut of the film. Okay, other than an issue relating to a testing of a cut of the film that Miss Lively didn't know about, any other complaints you heard from Miss Lively during the second phase of filming? From that point forward, yes, there was definitely issues in terms of her interaction, I think, with Justin and their collaboration in the final stages of post. Okay, tell me what you know specifically. And then that's as far as we go. So they're honing in on New Jersey and they're honing in on the second phase of filming. It seems like there's an argument that they're trying to make in there. Uncertain what that argument. I assume jurisdiction will be a really big play here, and then I assume part of their argument is going to be that even though she raised some concerns, there were never formal HR complaints, and the behavior was corrected, so it wasn't ongoing. So it's hard to be argued as harassment. And so I think defining whether or not the behavior was harassing or not will be crucial in determining whether or not she has a case about harassment and whether or not, I mean, I feel like it's getting really dicey because we're like really mincing behavior and we're redefining terms, and it's Katie of ARC says they're asking everyone about where filming was because some of Blake's cause of actions are under California FEHA, but Wayfair is arguing FEHA doesn't apply to conduct in New Jersey. That is correct. But Blake's argument is that, well, Wayfair is a California-based company, so that's why jurisdiction should apply there. But I don't believe they ever filmed in California at all. I know they filmed in Vegas, they filmed in Jersey, they filmed in New York, but I don't believe they ever actually filmed in California. Elizabeth 3G says, I enjoyed Blake in a simple favor, but now knowing that she is like, I can't separate her from her characters, and I feel like they're all just the same now. Christina says 47.1 is a California law that fights SH and SA by not allowing a defamation lawsuit for the defendant. It also gives 3 times the damages if won. Yes, treble damages. So that's, I assume, why the jurisdiction piece is important and whether or not California law will apply. So I guess that's why they're making it clear from all the witnesses and all the people involved that this was a film in Jersey. But again, for whatever reason, they're really focusing on making sure that there were no complaints that were made during the second phase of filming. And according to Blake's agent, it appears that tensions really started to rise in post-production, which will be interesting because Blake Lively doesn't really have a strong role or shouldn't have really been involved in post-production. Now, Blake's her team did issue a statement, which was interesting. They said the court already dismissed their so-called taking over the movie claim, and this cherry-picked deposition quote for Baldoni's prior agent before he was dropped from WME adds nothing new. The court's dismissal even assumed their allegations were true for the sake of the argument and still held that they don't amount to a valid claim under the law. This is a legal process, not a clickbait one. This is just a recycled distraction that has nothing to do with the actual SH and retaliation lawsuit Baldoni and the Wayfair defendants are facing. So it doesn't really tell us anything other than this sounds like they're scared. This sounds like they're worried about what this could mean for her case. And we're going to have to wait and see. Like, this is going to continue to play out. Mom Unscripted says phase 2 was a shit show. Wayfair has been prepping for the word go. They are both playing chess. We don't know much about phase 2. Most of her claims are from phase 1, and it seemed like it wasn't phase 2, but it seemed like it was post-production because phase 2 is the production of the film. But that's also when Wayfair is claiming that all the intimate scenes were filmed. I don't know. There's a lot to get into here. Okay, let's take a quick ad break very quickly, and then we'll get back on it. Get back on it. Get back on it. Fall always feels like a reset. Am I right? Between back to school, busier routines, shorter days, finding time to cook can be tough, right? That's why I love Factor. Their chef-prepped, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious, no matter how hectic the season can get. You can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost, and they can help you stay on track with your goals. So whether that's a GLP-1 friendly meal or a Mediterranean diet option, they have both. Or like for me, I'm trying to pack in my protein and hit those macros, and now I can rely on Factor. It's so hard going from, podcast taping to event and walking the dogs, and I'm constantly on the go. So sometimes the last thing I want to do is come home and cook. So I like that I can just go into my fridge, get out a Factor meal, pop it in the microwave, and boom, it's ready in just a couple minutes, and it's delicious, and I can still track my macros, stay on track, get those fitness goals in. So if you want to try Factor, you can eat smart at factormeals.com/nofilter50off and use the code nofilter50off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's a whole year of free breakfast. That's code nofilter50off, nofilter50off at factormeals.com/nofilter50off for 50% off your first box plus 1 year of free breakfast. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Listen, I still love a good night out, but I'm not always in the mood to drink anymore. Luckily, I found a great alternative, and that's Sol's Out of Office Gummies. They give you that same light, happy buzz without the hangover. There's no sugar, and you're definitely not left with an awkward next morning. Sol is a wellness brand that believes feeling good should be fun and easy. Sol specializes in delicious hemp-derived THC and CBD products designed to boost your mood and help you unwind. Their best-selling Out of Office Gummies were designed to provide a mild, relaxing buzz, boost your mood, and enhance creativity and relaxation. With 5 different strains, you can tailor the dose to fit your vibe, from a gentle 1.5 milligram microdose to their newest 15 milligram gummy for a more elevated experience. You know what I'm saying? I love a good vibe. I love a good, whether it's an evening or it's a weekend, especially in the summer, bring on the good vibes and treat yourself to Sol today. Right now, Sol is offering my audience, that's you right now, listening or watching this, 30% off your entire order. That's 30% off. Go to getsol.com and use the code NOFILTER. That's getsol, S-O-U-L, getsol.com, and use the promo code NOFILTER for 30% off. Alrighty, everybody in the club. Okay. Let's see. I'm fighting with somebody on X. This wackadoodle Pamela. She's like getting mad at me. She's like, "You support Big Pharma." And I was like, "No, I don't. Never have I ever." Hello, put a finger down. Oh wait, actually, pick a finger, lady. Put all the fingers down. Pick one. All right. It's hilarious that Blake has background on producing, production, editing, and she has zero background. I know. Has Blake's sister Robin said much? Not that I'm aware of. Uncertain if she's been deposed yet, but possibly. If regular marketing employee is harassed by the head of finance, does that mean she's being given decision-making power in finance? This is so stupid. Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. Feeny Fox says, I think a lot of questions were focusing on the contract part. They're probably going to sue her into oblivion because of breach of contract. Yes, but she never signed her contract, so that's going to be messy as well. But I mean, I believe the contract does still hold up. I don't know. We're going to have to see. Jane says extortion is the correct word to use for what Blake did, and SH victim doesn't have power. I agree with that. It still feels really strange. Wendy says still feels like Ryan Reynolds is behind so much of this. I agree. And the fact that he kind of has seemed to fully ditch her. Again, I still am predicting that the marriage isn't going to last very long, but we're going to have to wait and see how that all plays out moving forward. I also, you guys know I love watching Aphrodite. I don't know him personally. We never connected. I think I reached out to him a while ago about like coming on the podcast, and he's never responded. So I don't even know if he doesn't like me. But what I will say is I do love his videos. And he did a video that I watched yesterday on Blake Lively and Taylor Swift. And he says that based off of his reading of the situation, Taylor isn't so much upset with Blake's behavior. She's upset that Blake got caught. And then now it looks bad for all of them. That's kind of the issue. She's not mad at what Blake did to Baldoni. She's just pissed off at the fact that Blake got caught. The public hates her. And now the public is kind of making Taylor stay away from Blake and like draw a line in the sand publicly, which I think is interesting. I think that's interesting. Enrique says Ryan Reynolds was coming to your podcast. No, Ryan Reynolds was never coming to my podcast. And he was directly subpoenaed by Blake. Yeah. When they pay you out, you signed the contract. Yeah, essentially, yes. You can sue over a handshake contract. Yeah, I believe in this case, even though she didn't technically sign it, they do have a case of like she is still barred to that agreement, which also that I guess does protect Wayfair and Baldoni because Blake Lively is the first one that, well, I mean, I guess I don't know how that contract holds up when it comes to a lawsuit because it does say you should go to arbitration first, but I know it's a little different when it comes to like SH and SA claims. So I don't know, a little dicey there. Jenny says they're focusing on phase 1 versus phase 2 to establish some claims as time barred and others as retaliation is too far proximate to the relative conduct. This strategy looks fun. Listen, whatever their strategy is, I hope they've, strengthened their argument because they had a few fumbles that I was really kind of struggling with them with. And it seems like, we're doing it. Andy's doc will still go forward. It will, but now there's going to have to be so much more added to it. It's going to be crazy. Crazy. Victoria says it doesn't really matter how she was employed because she never signed her contract prior to her allegations. She signed the 17-point midway contract. It can be considered a contract. It doesn't matter how she was employed because she never signed her contract prior to her allegations. She signed what was the 17-point midway contract. It can be considered a contract. I don't understand the point that you're trying to make here, Victoria. Christina says yes, but there are some laws place that if you get paid out of the contract the contract is valid because it was completed. We have to see what the judge uses. That's going to be really tough. And I think we've all had issues with Judge Lyman and his judgment calls. Enrique says, what would happen if you just call up Taylor? I don't know. Let me get her on speed dial right now. I'm Not a Bot says, my opinion of Taylor has chilled until I see how she ends up siding on this. If she is friends with Blake again, she's out of my life. Was she ever in your life? I'm kidding. I tease. Victoria says, not necessarily. She had to comply with everything. And we all know that she did what she wanted and got what she wanted. Again, Victoria, I'm not following the argument that you're trying to make. And Christina makes it clear that this is all just speculation for now. Agreed. It's all speculation. We don't know what's going to happen or where this is going to go next. So, yeah. Mama Unscripted says lawyer said it's binding, although not signing it was probably their first sign that she was shady. Oh, I'm sure. Victoria says, plus, do we know when she got paid? Well, that's a big determining factor. And how much she got paid is also going to be a big one. Because remember, she had all those bonuses that were worked into her contract, all of which I'm sure they paid out. Imagine having to pay her on top of all of this drama. Okay, let's switch on over to Dancing with the Stars. Since it is Tuesday and Tuesdays on the podcast moving forward, we will be doing reality recaps. I don't know if I want to call it a reality recap or a reality report. Reality report sounds kind of fun too. But Tuesdays, I will be covering more reality TV news. So Housewives, Bravo, Netflix reality shows, TLC stuff. We're going to cover The Bachelor when Taylor Frankie Paul comes back. Like, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. So yeah. Dancing with, okay, so Hilaria Baldwin. She is upset because she says that there were mean girls on the set of Dancing with the Stars and that they were trying to drown out her fan base in a coordinated effort to get her kicked off the show. So I guess she did an interview with Us Weekly and she said, I'm very new to TikTok. I've only been on a couple of months. It's interesting because there's a lot of mean girls. I guess what people were doing is they were having campaigns where they would just vote for their favorite because you can vote 10 times for a couple. Then they were voting for all the other couples except us. So they were boosting everyone else and trying to drown out my fan base. Or maybe you just don't have that big of a fan base. Like, I'm sorry, my love. Maybe people just didn't like you that much. It's interesting that she goes into the TikTok of it all, which kind of makes me think, is she kind of taking a dig at Whitney Levitt or Jen Affleck? Because there are Alex Earl. They're all very big on TikTok. And so I'm thinking, I wonder if those were some shots that Hilaria was throwing at Whitney, Jen, and Alex. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But she says people were bullying her and people weren't nice to her and people had these coordinated efforts where they would intentionally vote for all the other couples except for hers because they wanted to drown her out. So even if they had like their favorite couple that they liked, they would also vote for all the other couples except Hilaria, which to me is like, huh? I said, huh? Uh-huh. Munchie says, wait. She said there were mean girls. Wasn't she the one who brought cats home after Alec found out that he was allergic to them? I didn't watch their reality show, but I did hear it was kind of crazy. Hilaria is hilarious. She's hilarious. So I don't know. It kind of... She went on, she continued to talk about it. She said it was very coordinated, very strategic bullying. And as I feel the darkness that undoubtedly brings to me, I always want to remember that my life belongs to the whole community, and I want to leave a lasting mark of courage to speak up against what is simply wrong. Okay, Gandhi, take a step back. She said, I have such wonderful things to say. It was sad. It was like that. There's more good people than bad people. And I just want one day that people can just see me and stop like the crazy stuff. But she's glad for her friends that voted for her. She loved to dance. She's very sad about leaving. And it's kind of where we leave her. But I don't know. Oh. I'm like, Mamma Mia, here we go again. Yeah, who's left in the race? So let's see. So far we had first eliminated was Baron Davis and Corey Feldman. Got it. I remember that. He was the NBA point guard, and then obviously Corey Feldman is the actor. He was the child actor who went a little cuckoo magoo. He was blonde. He had that bleach blonde hair on the show. And then we had Lauren from Fifth Harmony. She was really sad. She seemed really pissed that she left. So Fifth Harmony girl is gone. Hilaria Baldwin. Oh my God, I love that. I love that Hilaria's claim to fame, like what she's known for, her notability. It says yoga instructor, podcaster, and entrepreneur. I didn't even know she had a podcast. She's a podcaster? I didn't know she had a podcast. Interesting. Joy cometh in the morning. Hey, have you checked the docket? Do it now. Hilton made a video saying that Justin dropped all accusations. What? How does he drop all accusations when he doesn't have an active case against him? That doesn't make any sense. Is that true? Let's see. Let me text the Avengers and just see. Did Justin drop all accusations? Did something hit the docket? Someone said Perez is claiming. Do we really still trust Perez? And I don't give a shit if you get mad at me and my critiques of Perez. I have every right to have critiques of other people that I like or dislike, and I call balls and strikes, and I don't take Perez all that credible. I stand by that, 10 toes down. If you're pissed about that, then go rub one out somewhere else. I'm not going to play your game of like when you guys try to be crazy. Sandra says, Alec had a car accident last night in the Hamptons, hit a tree. I think his brother Billy was there with him. I did see that. Was that last night or the night before? I feel like that was like a couple nights ago. But I did see that he did get into a car accident and his car crashed into a tree. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you, Sandra. Yeah, I don't think that there's any truth to the Baldoni allegation. I don't know what clickbait Perez put out. We'll see. But still, back to Dancing with the Stars. Still left in the game, we have Jen Affleck from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. We have Jordan Childs. She's the gymnast. We have Alex Earl, who's big on, she's the TikToker, and she also has a podcast. She was with Alex Cooper's network and isn't anymore. Dylan Efron is still going strong. Danielle Fishel is still going strong. Elaine Hendricks is still going strong. Oh, she's the one from Parent Trap. Scott Hoying from Pentatonics is still going strong. Robert Irwin, he was the crocodile son. And then we have Whitney Levitt. And then I can't believe Andy Richer is still here. That's what Hilaria said too, that where people were like lobbying for Andy rather than her. That's kind of crazy. Let's see how the leaderboard is ranking. So it looks like Whitney and Mark. Whitney Levitt is still in the lead. Love Whitney. She's my favorite on the show. I'm rooting for Whitney. Dylan's not the best dancer, but I'm still rooting for Dylan. What's his name? Robert, the crocodile son. Big fan of him. Also rooting for Jen because I love my Mormon girls. I kind of like Elaine only because she's, Parent Trap. But I think in the end, I think Whitney's going to go far. I can see Whitney in the top 3. I can see Alex Earl in the top 3. I can see Dylan making it to the top 4 because he's such a fan favorite, but I don't see Dylan making it to the top 3. Hilaria knew wasn't going to make it. Fifth Harmony Girl I knew wasn't going to make it. Oh, what's the crocodile son? Robert, top 3. Whitney, top 3. Alex Earl, top 3. Those are my predictions for top 3. I think top 5 will maybe be Dylan and Jen. I don't see Elaine making it on the way. Andy has to go this week. I think Andy's at this point done. Oh, Danielle Fishel. Oh, she's definitely top. Ooh, that's a tough one. Okay. Alex is top. Okay. This is going to be the top 5. Alex Earl, Danielle Fishel, Whitney Levitt, Robert, Crocodile Son, and then I don't know if Jen or Dylan is going to take that 5th spot. I think Dylan has such popularity, but I feel like Jen is also doing so well as well. Who's in the bottom? Okay, so Andy Richer has to be the next to go. He's like consistently been in the bottom, like truly bottom. Like, okay, somebody find him a top and get him the fuck off the show. Okay. The next would be Scott and Danielle. I think Scott will be the next to go. He's Pentatonics. Yeah, I'm surprised Robert's scores aren't higher. Jen Affleck seems to be doing well. Jordan. Oh, Jordan will probably, I wasn't too familiar with Jordan. She is a gymnast. She's scoring pretty high. I don't know how great her popularity is, but her scores seem good. I think Jordan will stay in the game for a minute. Next to go, I think, has to be Andy Richer. And then Elaine, I think, will definitely be the next. She's doing really well, but I don't know if Elaine has the staying power. Yeah. And then Scott from Pentatonics. I think Scott from Pentatonics will go. Yeah. Up next, I think is going to be Scott. Is going to be Andy Richer. Scott from Pentatonics. Ooh, Danielle Fishel's rating. I think Danielle will get a lot of love after this week because she's doing the Boy Meets World tribute this week, and she's going to have Mr. Feeney. And a lot of the cast members are actually going to be there as well. Oh, I have those names right here too. She's doing, I guess this is going to be weird. She's dancing to the Boy Meets World theme song, which is not, it is Boy Meets World, Boy Meets World. So I guess we'll see, but I guess Mr. Feeney is going to be participating in it in some way because this week is like a tribute week. They're dedicating their dance to someone. So we have Mr. Feeney. I'm looking forward to that. We also have Will Friedle, who played Eric, Matthew Lawrence, who played Jack, Betsy Randall, who played Mom Amy, William Russ, who played Dad Alan. We have Trina McGee, who played Angela. Remember, Angela and Jack were dating Jack. Or no, she was dating Sean. Sean's not going to be there. There are 2 other like random characters. Yeah. 2 other random characters that I didn't really remember from some of the later college years seasons. But there's no Ryder Strong, who played Sean, which made me really sad. I wanted to see Ryder Strong, and he's hunky. And then there's no Ben Savage, which understandably, there's no Ben Savage because he's kind of been upset with all of them and he's been like distancing himself from all of them. I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know what's going to happen with Ben Savage because they've been at odds with him for a while and they did the podcast without him and he didn't seem happy about that. And then they claimed that he just kind of ghosted them. So uncertain where that goes, but let's see. Everyone's rooting for the crocodile son. I think, okay, Libby says she thinks top 3 is going to be Danielle Fishel, Robert, crocodile son, and Whitney Levitt. I think Whitney's definitely going to be top 3 for sure. I kind of feel like Alex Earl has a strong enough fan base that can carry her to the end, but I do really like this top 3 of Danielle, Robert, and Whitney. Jen, as much as I love her, I can see Jen making it to top 5, maybe top 4. But I don't see Jen Affleck making it to top 3 as much as I do really like her. And I think that she's doing a great job, especially considering she started this journey 8 weeks after giving birth. So she had just given birth to her baby over the summer. She was like pregnant when I interviewed her a couple months ago. So the fact that she already popped out a baby and she's shaking it, shimmy on the dance floor, very impressed. I think, yeah, Crocodile Sun's going to go far. His sister won, right? Bindi? His sister won when she was on years ago. I feel like Alex Earl's going to... And Dylan Efron is just like, everybody loves Dylan. That's going to get him at least to top 5, I would think. Everyone's rooting for Crocodile Sun. Libby says Alex will not make top 3. Older watchers don't know who she is. I guess. And there is an old audience viewership. And I also don't think she connects with older audiences. Where Dylan Efron, even though he's not in that demo, I feel like he connects to like the grandmas and the grandpas that watch the show. And people, I feel like, you know, that older-ish crowd that still watch Traders also may have liked Dylan from there. So I agree. Crocodile Sun, everybody knows him because of his dad, and all the boomers and millennials and people remember the Crocodile dad. So yeah. Do they win anything? Yeah, they win money and they win the trophy. Yeah, everyone likes Robert. I like Erwin and Danielle. It's Fishel, not Fisher, right? Isn't it Fishel? Erwin, yeah. Wow, I'm surprised at how many people are really thinking that Crocodile Sun is going to take it all the way. Crocodile Sun, Robert Erwin, yeah. Elizabeth says, well, being an Aussie, I'm going Robert. Wow. Do you guys like Whitney? I'm not watching the show. I only watch the highlights and the clips, but are we like a Whitney fan? Because I love Whitney. She's my favorite on the show. And I also think she's charismatic enough to like win over some of those older audiences as well. I don't think Alex Earl has that ability, but we've also seen a lot of these like TikTokers go pretty far. Even like Ariana Madix went so far, right? Wasn't she in top 3? Didn't she come in like second? Whitney's incredible. She's so fun to watch. Yeah. Mary Trotman says not a fan of Whitney at all. I love Whitney. I love Whitney. Jane says Jen is an amazing dancer after having a baby. I know. She's got that Latina blood. Yeah, everybody loves Crocodile Sun. Okay, well then I kind of feel like Crocodile Sun will definitely be first or second. If he can keep his ratings strong, because that's the thing is it's half ratings and half viewers. I think they would. Well, I don't know how real these winners actually are. So I could very much see him winning, even if he didn't win. You know, I could see producers picking him as the ultimate winner. Like Robert Irwin, first place, Whitney Levitt, second place. And I don't know, who do we think is going to get third? If we have Robert, Whitney, and then third, I don't think will be Dylan. I don't think he's a strong enough dancer to take him all the way. I don't know. I'm second guessing Alex. I mean, she dances really well, but you're right. She will need the votes. So I could see her getting top 3. I can see Danielle getting top 3. I don't see Jen. I don't see Dylan in the top 3. I guess the gymnast girl, who was her name? Jordan. I mean, I don't know. Her scores seem pretty solid. So maybe. But yeah. Next, I'm going to say Andy Richer is going to go this week. Elaine's probably going to go next. Elaine or Scott will go next week. I'm really good at predictions, even when I'm not watching these shows. But I can see Andy, Elaine, and Scott being the next 3 to go for sure. For sure. Libby says, ooh, I got some tea over the weekend. Met a friend's friend who is a field producer on The Bachelorette. They start filming next weekend, and he says the guys for Taylor are hot. I'm so excited for The Bachelorette. I have never watched The Bachelor or The Bachelorette or anything Bachelor Nation. I am so excited for this season because I love Taylor Frankie Paul. I'm telling you guys right now, we are watching The Bachelor. We are joining Bachelor Nation, and we are going to follow it through with Taylor Frankie Paul. Ariana says, I don't watch the show, but I just want Robert and Danielle in the top because I like them. Yeah, I feel like Robert and Danielle are very likable. So I definitely think Danielle might be number 3. I think it's going to be Robert, Whitney, Danielle. Those are who I'm predicting for the final 3. Robert is great for a white guy, a bit shady. He got public votes, sympathy votes. He is nice. Why is that shady? What makes him shady? He literally wrestles with crocodiles. Zach, what do you think about Teresa Giudice making up with Melissa and Joe Gorga just to keep her job and her paycheck because she was going to be canned? So actually, Joy, I do kind of agree with you with this analysis. So to catch everybody up to speed with Housewives World, Teresa Giudice says that she has reached out to her brother and she's open to a reconciliation with them. And it sounds like she's willing to do that for the sake of the show because the show's kind of been at a standstill. And I think she really, because Teresa didn't test film from my understanding. And I think she's even confirmed that she didn't test film because she's just like, what does she say? The professor doesn't need to test or something like that. Something to that effect of like, she doesn't need to do any test filming with anybody else because the producers have worked with her for so long. They should know who she is and what she brings and blah, blah, blah. Which every time a housewife gets an ego like that, the network is not afraid to chop you. So she did reveal, I think it was on Jeff Lewis Live, that she was open to mending with her brother and Melissa, I guess, for the sake of the show. I mean, and maybe taking that time off I don't think Teresa wants to not be on the show. Yeah, I don't know. It just feels like so, like, not chaotic, but it just feels so dramatic, like toxic to be on the show. I don't know. We'll see. But what do I think of it? I think Teresa's absolutely going to try to make up with Melissa and Joe, maybe even Kathy. That would be an interesting spin to bring Kathy in for a couple of episodes since there was drama between Melissa and Kathy. And if Teresa makes up with everybody, I don't know. I mean, do we care to see that family back together again? Teresa, Kathy, Joe, Melissa, Richie. Do we care to have the family back together? I don't think we'll ever get a Caroline Manzo one. Maybe we'll get a Jacqueline Larita cameo. Like if there's like a trip that she comes to New York for, that would be kind of fun. But yeah. We'll see. We shall see. Ooh, the media is trying to talk Robert Irwin into being the next Bachelor. I think that's smart if they go into more of this celebrity Bachelor direction, like Dylan Efron being the Bachelor, or even Robert Irwin being the Bachelor. Like that would be so fun. I think Dylan would absolutely. Harry Jowsey being the next Bachelor, that would be so fun. So we'll see. Crocodile has the most followers. He's got 9 million followers. Yeah, I'm telling you, I think Crocodile's son is gonna win. Robert Irwin is going to take home the prize. I think Whitney will come in second. I think Danielle will be third. Yeah. Alex will be top 5. I think Dylan will be top 5. Dylan, Alex, and Jen, I can see as top 5. Again, I don't know where to place Jordan. I'm so not familiar with her. Her scores seem fine, but I don't know what her popularity brings. But like, look at Shawn Johnson. She did really well, and she was an athlete that nobody really knew of outside of the Olympic Games. If I never see Teresa and her husband a day, I don't care. She owes so much money in prison to not teach her a lesson. I mean, she's entertaining television. Got to go to a meeting. We'll chat with you tomorrow. Bye, Libby. I can't imagine Jersey without Teresa. Same. I agree. Joy says she made a statement saying that if Bravo did not want her back, she was good with it. She's so broke, she wants the $500,000 paycheck. Oh, 1,000%. She's going to do everything she can. I think now she's seen the writing on the wall and seeing that the show will move on without her, and she's not going to let that happen. Does anyone believe that Taylor and Travis will get married? Just a question. Yeah, I believe they'll get married, Joanne. All right, I think that's all I got for you for today. Let's start a campaign to get Zack Peter as the next Bachelor. I don't know about that. I don't know if I would do a dating show in general. I just feel like it's so like Ugh, I don't know. Could you imagine me doing a dating show? I feel like that's crazy. Okay, Justin doesn't have anything to drop anymore, and it's too late for Blake to drop hers. Thank you. I'm not behind. Please recognize they literally are preparing for a motion for summary judgment. Oh, yeah. I mean, haven't we known this already? Oh, Zach, you are so gorgeous. You do not need a dating show. Well, I need something. I'm still very single. So, um, I don't know. A dating show, like dating no filter. Would that be crazy? Dating Zach Peter. That would be fun. What if I did do a dating show? Like, that would be kind of interesting, right? I guess I've never thought about that. Like a disaster daters dating show. I don't know. That would be kind of wild, but also kind of fun. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Thank you guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Right? Tomorrow, Wednesday, October 15th. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. And yeah, get ready. Tuesdays will become our reality recap days moving forward. So just so you know, if you love reality TV, then I definitely recommend you do tune into the show on Tuesdays. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Get ready, everybody in the club. If you want ad-free episodes, you can sign up for No Filter All Access via Supercast. There's a link in the description below. You can sign up. You can connect it to your Apple account. You can connect it to your Spotify account. That way you get ad-free episodes fully available on your mobile devices, but you have to sign up via Supercast. It is No Filter, all access, bonus episodes, book club. I am going to be putting out a dedicated bonus episode where I recap the Kamala Harris 107 Days books. I know we did the members only Zoom, and some people were like, well, I'm upset because I missed book club and I couldn't make it the Zoom at that time, and you don't save the Zooms. And I was like, well, I intentionally don't save the Zooms because other people get on camera and they share their voices and they're like unfiltered conversations between us. It's a fun connecting point. But moving forward, I will make sure that there is a recap that is available for you to listen to for book club. You'll still get the recap if you can't make it to the members only Zooms, but the Zooms will not be saved. And I want that to be kind of like a safe space that people know that they can come there, they can go on camera, they can go on mic, we can chat unfiltered and just have a cool hangout. Not everything needs to be recorded. All right. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Talk to you tomorrow. Ciao for now. Follow me at Just Plain Zack. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack.